It's hard to exaggerate how dangerous it is to be a Ukrainian inside of the United States of America at this point right now. If you're a Ukrainian living here, you can literally be sentenced to death because you just exist. That's the only one reason. You exist in the United States of America and being Ukrainian. This is the only one reason. You don't have to commit any crimes. You're alive, you're breathing, and you're Ukrainian. Well, that's a good reason to unalive you right here. And I'm not saying that off of eloquence purpose. That's a real thing. And I feel an obligation as one of their kind to show to y'all guys here how unfair can it be in my personal experience using my example. So I lived in Russia, I lived in Ukraine, I know 3 languages, Ukrainian, Russian, and English, right? And I've got Ukrainian passport, and I came to the United States as a refugee seeking for asylum because of the war in Ukraine, right? Now imagine, Ukrainian people, they all have been invited to this country legally to get some protection because right now, part of my family still lives in Ukraine. They cannot reunite with me because of current state of the politics. Those Ukrainian programs are gone. So they have to stay there in Ukraine in the winter, 12 negative degrees, and they're freezing there to death because the power outages during this winter in Ukraine is just outrageous. It can be like 2 days straight. You can live in the winter among the snow and all that, yeah. Negative temperature again. And there will be no heat, no electricity, no power. 2 days straight. That's how part of my family lives there, from my wife's side. Her parents literally live in these conditions right now, while I'm talking to you right here. But let's talk about those Ukrainians who came here. So all of their statuses are gone at this point. By the law, government's supposed to prolong their statuses, to approve them new ones because they were approved in Congress. So those statuses are actually 2. United for Ukraine, U for you, this is the first one. And the second one is TPS, temporary protective status. Both of those are currently on hold for 99.9% of Americans, and they got no papers here whatsoever. At this point, those papers illegally being dragged. They're not making any kind of decision just to make sure the Ukrainian person will lose his opportunity to work legally, and it's either he will have to break the law and work to survive somehow in this, one of the most expensive countries in the world, by the way. Or he will leave the country because he will literally starve to death. But this is not that sentence I was talking about before. We will come to it a little bit later. It's much more crazy than you could even imagine. So why are they prolonging Ukrainian statuses? Why are they not approving it? Because they want, besides they will lose their job and probably starve to death, or leave the country, they also want to give an opportunity to ICE to detain those people because with legal papers, I mean, not even green card, but citizenship, naturalized or even natural born citizenship, they can still get you into detention center. And you will have to pay the lawyer to get you out of there. Yeah, eventually you will get out of there, but you will lose like $5 to $10K on your lawyers to be able to get out of there. Even if you're a natural born citizen, like being born here on the US soil. They ain't give a damn. And of course, they don't give a damn about even our TPS, temporary protected status. This is the status that shows I'm protected here by the law. Nobody gives a fuck, obviously. They don't even have respect to citizens, what can I say here? But Ukrainians at this point, they don't even have this one paper because if you go into website, if you're an immigrant, you know that. You got a USCIS website, you got a personal account over there, and it's always pending. Majority of Ukrainian statuses are pending for over a year right now. So they supposed to be approved a year ago, and now a year passed, and no status, nothing. And I remind you, they have to do it by the law. Congress approved this law. But this is just kind of like a loophole, to get rid of the people. Now look at this.
Mr. President, on Ukraine, will you let those Ukrainians who fled the war to stay in the United States until the war ends in Ukraine?
I think we will, yeah.
You will?
I think we will. We have a lot of people that came in from Ukraine, and we're working with them.
Unfortunately, I wanted to say that is true. I want to say, yeah, the president took care of refugees who really seek for refugee. If it's not for a war, then what you supposed to seek an asylum for? Like a lot of those people from Ukraine, they got no even homes left in their homeland because Russia literally destroyed every single city, town. They burned it to the ground. Not even one building stands there after Russians come. They got no place to come back. Probably you think president is famous by giving an advantage to white people, yeah? Remember those South Africans, white farmers? And work with Ukrainians. Now, despite the fact Ukrainians 99.9% are white, it's literally completely Slavic people. There is no other people amongst them. Russians kind of diverse, yeah. There is Asian Russians, Caucasians, which is not, by the way, not white people. You all call Caucasians like it's some kind of white person. That's not true, Caucasians. These are Caucasians. And these, look, those people, all of them, they are Caucasians. And this is, by the way, one of the most famous of them, who literally murdered a lot of his own people. And his name is Kadyrov, and he's one of the most brutal dictators all over the world. I'll make the whole another video about him. Maybe even the next one, so make sure you follow me, alright? So basically, I got no other option but to say, at this point, the president's words were just a lie, unfortunately. I hope maybe the president is unaware of that. So if this is true, somebody please tell him Ukrainians literally live here just like Jews in Poland in early 40s. That kind of bad, yeah. It's because once ICE got you and they will put you in detention, there is very few chances you get out of that detention. Even with lawyer, even with all money in the world, there is a very few chances you get out of there. And if not, they will deport you to Ukraine, which is, again, illegally. You cannot deport people to the country in the state of the war where airspace is literally closed. There are no flights to Ukraine right now. They still deporting some people to Ukraine. And guess what Ukrainian man can expect the moment they arrive to Ukraine? Military draft, battlefield, and death. That's what can happen to any Ukrainian right now. He can go to his work, to the gym, to get groceries. He can get caught by ICE, even though he's legally here. He did everything in a legal, right way. He was invited to this country. They created a special program for Ukrainians. It's even called Uniting for Ukraine. And still yet, ICE will detain him, even with papers on him, even with this, and deport him so he can get killed over there. That's what I mean when I say being Ukrainian in the United States right now, it's close to what Jews experienced in Poland in the early 40s. And the treatment in detention center are probably the same. Ukrainian people creating businesses, creating jobs, paying taxes, producing a lot of money, and for some reason they get this treatment in response. So tell me why. What did Ukrainian people do to this country to be treated like that? I simply cannot fathom. That's beyond my understanding. And anyway, thanks for watching and have a good one.